So today we're going to talk about 1, things that float, and 2, we're going to talk about Noah. Does anybody know about Noah in the Bible?
I do.
You do?
Yeah, I do.
I want to see your kindergarten hands. Good job. Daniel, who was Noah? What did God ask him to do? Do you remember? It's something to do with
A boat.
a boat. So in Noah's day, the people were being really naughty. They were being really bad. They weren't listening to God, and they were not obeying God.
I have the Bible.
You're right. It is a story in the Bible. It's
I have a Bible.
Good.
I have a Bible.
What did you do?
I have it.
Hold on 1 second, guys. So, in the Bible, God asked Noah to build
I have a Bible, but I haven't
Okay. So God asked Noah to build a big boat so he could put his family, and 2 of every animal in it. Because what happened? Why did Noah need a boat? Ms. Everett?
Because God flooded the earth.
You're right. God flooded the earth. It rained for 40 days because the people were naughty and weren't obeying God. So, in Genesis, in the Bible, Tatum, it says for 40 days the flood kept coming on the earth, and as the waters increased, they lifted the ark high above the earth. The waters rose and increased greatly on the earth, and the ark floated on the surface of the water. So what does it mean to float? Yes, it sits on top of the water, right? Dylan?
It sits on top of the water and it flows.
That's right. Tyler?
It does. It's down on top of the water.
It sits on top of the water. Pierce?
It won't flood.
It won't flood or sink, right? If it fills up with water. So sinking is when it's on the bottom, right? And floating is when it sits on top. So today we're going to do a little science experiment to see what kind of things float and what kind of things sink. So we're going to try all different kinds of stuff. Sit down like that and scoot back so your friends can see.
It's a balloon.
Okay, ready? We'll hold it up. Crisscross applesauce, hands in your bucket. I'll hold it up so you guys can see, okay? So we're going to try lots of different things. We have cork, and we have a, do you know what float starts with? Ah. Okay, so it's a fancy fish. F. My loves, you're going to have to scoot back. You're right there, Miss Josie. You too, Michael.
Michael right here. Tyler right here.
Do you guys know what a hypothesis is? A hypothesis is when we make a guess about what we think is going to happen. So we're going to make a hypothesis, and we're going to guess what we think is going to happen. Dominic, please sit still. You don't have to go to the side.
Dominic right here.
We're going to make a guess on what we think is going to happen. If these items are going to sink or float. And then we're going to test it and see if we were right. Results are what actually happens. So when we hypothesize, it's what we think is going to happen. And when we have a result, it's what actually happens. So what's a hypothesis? What we think might happen, right? So what do we think will happen with the ping pong? Is it going to sink or float? SJ?
Those things could sink because they're really small.
You think it might sink because it's small? Anybody else have a guess? Wesley?
It could sink.
You think it'll sink? Tyler?
It could sink in the bay.
You think it'll sink? Okay. You can put this one.
You want me to write names or are you going to do it like that? Oh, I got it.
If you want to take my things, Josie.
That's perfect.
The extra's right there. Okay, what about the cork? Hayden? Float? Anybody else? SJ?
It could float.
Float. Pierce, what do you think?
No.
Float. Wesley?
Float.
Float. Okay. How about a marble? What do you think I'll happen with the marble?
Sink. Sink.
Get her in hands. Daniel?
Sink.
Here. Brooklyn? Zoe?
Sink.
All right, we got a finger. What about a straw?
Sink. Sink.
Oh, kindergarten hands. Tyler?
It could sink in an egg.
You think it'll sink? Pierce, what do you think?
Float.
Float. Michael, what do you think?
Float.
Float. Dominic, what do you think?
It'll suck up all the water.
Do you think it'll sink or float though?
It's around, so I think that's why it'll sink.
You think it'll sink? So that's 2-2. Camden?
Sink.
Sink. Aiden?
Sink.
SJ?
If there's more water of the marble, it could sink really high.
You think it'll sink really far? We've got a sinker. Okay, now this, what letter is this? F. Like float. It's also made out of foam. What do you think foam starts with? F.
My mom gave me a Winky costume.
Awesome. So what do we think that the foam F will do? Will it sink or float? Camden? Zoe?
Both starts with F too.
You're right. Will it sink or float? Sink? Pierce, what do you think?
Sink.
Mela, what do you think?
Float.
Float. Daniel, what do you think?
Sink.
Aiden? Cambria?
Sink.
Michelle?
Sink.
I think the sinks have it. Okay, what about the balloon? SJ? Think a balloon will sink or float? Sink? Michelle?
Well, there's two balloons. If you, that one won't sink.
That one won't sink? You think it'll float?
That one will float.
David,
That
you
one
think it'll float?
will float.
All right, we got a floater. Okay, what about this one?
You can put it in the water.
I am. That's what we're going to do next. We're going to see if we were right or wrong. What about a key? You think a key will sink or float?
Float.
Lukey? Sink. Aiden? Michelle? Pierce? All right, we got a sinker.
That will float.
Okay,
You will float.
just a couple more. Paperclip. You think a paperclip is going to sink or float? Dylan? Sink. Caleb? Sink. What about a penny? Well, it does go in a piggy bank, you're right. But do you think it'll sink or float if we put it in the water? Sink, Wesley.
It will sink.
It will sink ever. Sink, we got a sinker. And last but not least, a little rock. Michelle, you think that was a little rock? Sink. SJ?
Float.
You think it'll float? Camden? Sink. Daniel? Float. Wesley?
Float.
Michael?
Sink.
Tyler?
Sink.
Okay, I think we're in the middle. We've got it both even. All right. You ready to start testing?
Yes.
Okay, let me move my jar up front so you guys can see. Okay, Miss Josie, what should we start with? How about our F? Ready? I'll give everyone a chance to see. We're going to start with our F. What's our F made out of? Foam. You're right. Okay.
Paper float.
What's happening?
Float.
It's floating.
No,
So what
it
did we?
sinks a little bit.
What did we say was going to happen? We thought it was going to sink. So our F, we're going to move over 2 floats. Good job. Okay,
Sit on your bottom, please.
let's look at our ping pong ball. So what do we think was going to happen? Sink. Let's see what happens. What's it doing? It's floating. All right. So was our hypothesis right or wrong? It was wrong. We thought it was going to sink. That's why it's fun to test it, right? Because then we get to find out if you were right or wrong. Okay, what's next? A key. So we thought this was going to sink. Ready? Let's see what happens. What happens? Can you guys see in the back? Where's my key? On the
That was
bottom.
so fast down there. Yeah. Yeah. It just dropped.
It's a
Could
key
that
made
even
out of metal, so it's heavy. Okay. Right, so were we right or wrong? Right. Good job. Okay, our cork, ready? What's it doing?
It's floating.
Floating. What did we say? It was gonna float. Good job. All right, let's do our balloon. Ready? Where's our balloon? It's on the float side. Let's see. Okay, couple more. Marble. Where's our marble? Down here on the sink side. Let's see. Keep your eyes on it. It might be fast. Okay. Now we have a penny. Where's our penny? It's on the sink, right? Everybody watching? Let's see if we're right. Oh. Okay, my friends. We're doing quiet claps, but we don't want to interrupt our neighbors, okay?
Sit on your bottom.
All right. Okay, now remember our straw? What did we say with our straw? Our straw is on the sink side. Let's see if we're right or wrong. Oh man, it floats. So now, what do we know? Does straws sink or float? They float. Okay,
Okay, your little pebble.
here's our little pebble. He's on
In the middle.
in the middle. We had just as many people say it was going to sink or float. So now we get to see what happens, right? Ready? So now we know. Do rocks sink or float? They sink. And our last one. What is this?
Paper clip.
A paper clip. And where's... Oh, we didn't have it up here. I think we had our paper clip was a sink, right? Was it a sink or a float?
Sink.
Sink. Let's see. So what does it mean to float? What does it mean to float? To stay on the top. What does it mean when it sinks? The bottom. And do we remember what's a hypothesis?
Are you gonna?
It's what we think is going to happen, and the results are what actually happens. So we're going to leave this up. I'm not going to leave, I'll leave these things in the jug with the lid on it. I want you guys to use your eyes, not your hands.
And then Tony needed a bottle.
I don't want the bottle's just mine. I don't want anyone to touch with their hands,
What's the
okay?
bottle?
It's just my water.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put these things back in, and you guys can look with your eyes, and we're gonna keep our sinker float up on the table so you can see the things that we figured out
Can we
will
put it
sink
in
or
there?
float. I'm gonna put it in there, and you can look with your eyes, but not with our hands. All right, thank you guys. Good job.